Good afternoon. It's time to bring on our guest in the studios of TRAXXfm. We're talking about the spirit of studio, and our guests are Greg Dall and Nick Proud. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to have you both.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Good to be here.
And you're not here like it's not like your first time here. You've been here for ages. Let's find out. Yeah.
We've been here forever. I've been here for 30 years.
Yeah?
And Greg's even older than me. So
You've been here 30 years,
30
Nick.
years, yeah. I love the place. It's
I
a
might
great
be older
space.
in years, Nick, but I'm younger in brain power.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I see how this all works together.
Yeah, but we're complementary. He's,
Right.
Our companies both work together, so we have lots of battles between us. But generally I win.
Right. So when you came down here, you were just both architects.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you were working on different things altogether.
Yes. We were companions, but on different companies, different projects.
What were you working on? Just,
Well, Pentago, the company, we specialise in high quality housing, resorts, leisure, hospitality. We have a landscape architectural practice, golf courses, and TRX Park.
Okay.
That was one of them. And we have an architectural practice that deals in mainly high-end housing and resorts. Mm-hmm. Nick complements it, and we work together on a lot.
Yeah, we started off here as a interior architectural practice, and we specialize in hotels around Southeast Asia. And we basically go where the work is, but hotels is our mainstay. But anything that's to do with hospitality, food and beverage is our passion, our skill, our sort of direction. So
Right. Are you still in that line?
very much so.
In that field? Yeah, you are.
Leave it. So I'm still waiting to make my mark as
Still
an
trying to pay the
artist.
bills.
Right? Okay, still very much,
Yeah,
yeah? And
yeah.
at the same time, you found time to actually do some painting.
Yes, well, that's an interesting story because it only happened for me 6 years ago. I was a sculptor when I was younger, never picked up a paintbrush, and it was actually this gentleman beside me who came into our Pentago House office, and I was trying to hide where my secretary was, and he said, "Why don't you get an artist to paint a mural to hide her?" And I said, "I think I can do that."
Right.
And that was the start of the end, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of latent skills. I mean, we get so involved in our individual careers that we forget that we have quite a skill set which sometimes comes up to the surface. So in my case, to tell you the truth, I started doing a fine arts degree back in the late 1970s. The reason I went into this course was a girlfriend, and she took me there.
Of course.
And then halfway through that course, halfway through the first year, she left me. So, but then I kind of realized, what am I doing here? And so the joy ran out of it. So I switched over to architecture. But that small time, that 6 months I spent it there in the fine arts course, has really sort of got under my skin. And I realize now that I have so much creativity through doing what I do on a daily basis that it's a natural extension to create art.
Right.
I think it's in all of architects, all designers. It's a latent.
Actually, one of the other four sad architects, Hijas Kasturi, is a very well-known. He's probably he is the father of architecture in Malaysia.
Right.
He only started painting 5 years ago, and now it's he's prolific.
Yeah.
And the same with Nick. He did a fine arts course in Italy for 6 months and gave it up because he realised that some of these Italians are better than I am. Came back and set up UITM architectural school here, and then just started painting 5 years ago.
Right. Why is this? Why was this taking off so late for you in painting?
Well, all of us are good friends, and we were involved designing a resort for Hijas on the East Coast, the Kasturi, which is his own, and he has a program in Rimbudahan for the last 45 years. He's been hosting Malaysian artists and foreign artists in his studio there. He's got his own gallery, and nurturing talent. And then he showcases their work, and he does that as a charity. And many of those artists over the last 45 years have become famous around the whole of Southeast Asia.
Right.
So he's hosted them, but he's never done it. So he got off his bottom and got a paintbrush, and off he went.
Right.
I think to that, I think is basically we have the opportunity and we have so much pent up expression to put forward. I mean, our daily work is administration. It's to do with the progress and the process of architecture. So to be creative is like a release, right? It's which is which is what we all need to have that sort of expression.
Right. It must be scaring a lot of painters out there who realize that we've got lots of architects who are, wow.
There's a lot of talent out
Yeah.
there, but we also provide a platform for people to showcase this talent.
That's it.
And,
Mentorship.
Yeah, not just ourselves, but provide that sort of opportunity. And there's many people would love to sort of put their architectural career behind them and just do what they really feel passionate about.
Nice. Okay, talk to us about the Four Sad Architects.
You want to start?
Oh, right. Well, the name, everyone says, why the Four Sad Architects? Well, it started, as I said, about 6 years ago. We're all friends, and we found our passion. And we're at an age where, when we graduated from university, we were all told by our mentors and parents and uncles that you must get a serious profession. You've got to go out and put a roof over your head and food on the table and be sensible. So we all became professional architects, right? But in our hearts, right down there deep, we all wanted to just create. So we got together and we're pretty sad that we'd wasted 40 years of...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where it came from.
Right. I was looking at the other way, like you were probably hopeless architects. And,
We've been called a lot of things, but,
but not that.
Yeah, we're called, exactly, yeah.
No, but when you think about our business, day-to-day business, it's not only just the process of architecture, it's also, what goes on. It's the space we create, it's the textures, it's the spaces that we live in or look at or use, as humans.
Right.
So it's just such a natural progression to go on to something which is, art inspired.
Right.
So, yeah.
Nice. Okay. So what first drew you to painting as a form of expression?
It wasn't to make money.
It wasn't to make money.
It wasn't.
Yeah. It was a form of release, you
I think
said.
it's
Yeah.
a form of release, an opportunity just to express something which is very different, just to...
Yeah.
I did an exhibition about 2 years ago called Lose the Horizon. And it was basically me trying to break away from the rigor and the mathematics and the structure of everyday life.
Right.
And I deliberately tried to be as abstract as I could be, but I found I always came back into an urban situation or something which was reflecting what I was doing, right? And
Yeah.
Are your styles very different the way you
Oh,
paint?
yeah,
Very
very.
different.
Talk about your styles then.
Well, as I said, my early years, I wanted to be a sculptor. And university and high
I
school.
was a sculptor.
Yeah, exactly.
Then
And
again,
then
no.
I gravitated into architecture, and I've always seen buildings as three-dimensional forms that people live in, as living sculptures. And it's always fascinated me. So it was a simple progression. And yeah, into painting. And the same with the three of us, the other three partners, really.
I mean, we have the opportunity to work with all sorts of materials, whether it's
Yeah.
concrete or glass, or whether it's fabrics or ceramic tiles. So we're already in that creative business. So it's just such a natural, step to go forward and put our feelings down
Yeah.
on the canvases, right?
And
So-
we're buying art and sculpture and so on for our landscapes and for our hotel lobbies and so on. So we're dealing with artists and sculptors and painters all the time. And sometimes you get there and you're thinking, yeah, I think we can do better than that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, when you look at our other two partners, Hijas and Chong, when you look at their artwork, especially on the Hijas side, you can really see, as the grandfather of Malaysian architecture, his expressions now in his paintings really
Yeah.
reflect his style that he's been adapting for the last 50 years. So, this is very, very clear. He's also got the very calligraphic element to his work. He's trying to develop that and bring back the sort of calligraphy, sort of Southeast Asian artwork, inspired as well. So
Yeah, and the collaboration. All four of us are good friends, and we regularly meet up and just enjoy each other's company and paint. Mm-hmm. In fact, we do a lot of graffiti street art. I shouldn't call it. It's street art together.
Right.
So we all gather and put our hats on and get out the paintbrushes and the spray cans and spray.
Just go for it.
Yeah. If you go to Kampong Atap, you'll see it all around. Mm-hmm. Force Out Architects Street Art.
I'd love to let you, give those guys a lesson in how to pronounce.
Yeah, I was just singing a
Say
warm-up.
Sepang. Can you say Sepang?
Sepang.
Those just the guys at Formula One who keep
is
on
it?
saying sepang, sepang, you know.
Tetapi saat tinggal Malaysia.
Sudah lama, yeah.
Lama.
Oh, very nice.
And I think we should do something on your wall here. It needs a bit of street art.
I think we need that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you, Greg.
Yeah.
All right, questions for Greg. Let's see now. What inspired you to move from architecture into painting?
Well, the guy next to me, Mr. Nick Proud.
Right. Seriously, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, as I said to you, we were looking to find a painting, a mural to hide one part of our office space at Pentago, and he suggested I did it. So he taught me how to hold a paintbrush.
I think a lot of it is also, believing in yourself or seeing the
Yeah.
talent in others and
Yeah.
saying, just go and do it. It's there's nothing can't do anything wrong when it comes to art. You've just got to get into it, express yourself, and choose your medium. And
yeah.
develop.
Right.
And
Yeah, but once you're done with your art piece, do you want people to actually see what you have painted, or is it okay for people to interpret it the way they want to?
Greg's is quite straightforward, and in his message, mine is more abstract. So, and I take, I create for myself. And as Greg said earlier, we don't necessarily need to create for a living because we have our day-to-day jobs. But,
Right.
And that gives us a certain amount
Total
of freedom.
freedom.
Yeah, freedom to do what we want to do. And as all good art, we're not in there to please people. We're there to
Please ourselves,
Please
yeah.
us.
Right.
Actually, that's an important point. In our day-to-day jobs, it's getting worse and worse with company project managers and clients and government rules and regulations that we're boxed in, and quite a lot of what you see, the built form, is 20%, 30%, maybe if we're lucky, 50% of what we design. The rest is structured. When you pick up a paintbrush and you have a blank canvas, there are no boundaries, and you can do whatever's in your brain, and it just comes out and flows in the flow, and that's such a liberating experience. That's really the essence of it, I suppose.
Correct. And having something to fall back on, like you were saying in the early years.
Yeah, that's right.
When you
Yeah.
felt sad because you were like, yeah,
Yeah, I'm not that sad, but
yeah. Okay, all right. So how does your background in architecture influence that style? Your works are bold, colorful, and often humorous.
well, I don't think what I do with my painting style has much to do with the architecture. I'm probably the more rebel rouser amongst the four of us, and I'm suppose I think one of your questions was, who's your favourite artist? Jean-Michel Biscay, who was probably the father of street art in New York. His work inspired me. So my work, most of my painting is along those lines, quite figurative, bit humorous. Their latest bathing costumes waggle their bottoms at the lifeguards.
All right.
So I've done a series called the Bondi Beach series, which is a quirky, humorous look at how the young men flex their muscles and the young ladies flex their bottoms.
Okay.
So it's just a laugh. So that's the latest, yeah.
Right. Okay.
It won't sell.
You never know. You never know. Depending if I ran a club somewhere, I might.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it though.
Yeah. Okay. And what humor and visual puns are strong elements in your art? Why are they so important in your storytelling?
Yeah, well, life's too serious, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think any art form should entertain. Mm-hmm. It should give you a message or make you feel good. I don't like art that makes me feel heavy and dark and bad. I'm a very shallow person.
Right.
I like movies, and I like to come out of the movies and start singing and dancing and feeling good.
Right.
So I think art is very, very important to sell that positivity.
Right.
And humour.
Well, how do people actually learn to appreciate art better, right? Like sometimes we go to an art exhibition and we don't know what to look at. We totally don't know what to look at. But a lot of people would actually pretend they know. And they would go there and they'll just look at it and say, oh, I like this, I like that. But what is it that we should be looking for? What do you think is important?
You want to have a go at that one?
I think on the abstract side, I think it's really what you see and how your personal imagination works and how you see and what figures or direction or mood you take out of the paintings that you're looking at. I think for some of Greg's work is the humor is there, so you can instantly appreciate it. Mine is a little bit sort of more, I say, more abstract. You've got to think about it a bit more. But the options are up to the individual and what they see. Some people might hate a piece. Some people might say, "Wow, that's really good and really deep and nice." So it's I do a lot of expressionist and abstract painting. So that's and they're spontaneous. So that spontaneity that comes out of my into my work is hopefully what people take away, the passion, the feeling, the mood, the creativity. I try to do copy painting, but I'm terrible at it. It's just
Copy painting,
copy painting, cannot do it. So
Right.
Actually, you've probably seen all those films and so on where the creator of an art gallery comes in and there's a blank wall there with a dot on it, and I'll spend 10 minutes explaining the
dot.
dot. And it might be on
the banana.
yeah, the
on the wall
banana,
a few years
yeah.
ago. Yeah.
So and then and then the artist comes in and says, "I'm sorry, you've got it upside down," and turns it around the other way. Well, it's the story that's important in many cases, and you'll see a piece of art, and especially abstractions, and it's the story behind that piece of art. That's what's important, and everyone can digest it a different way.
Correct. Some might see the dot, some might see the white space
That's
around
right.
the dot.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Even, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Has there been like times when people interpret the art, differently from what you expected them to, what you were hoping to portray?
Yeah, you can stand
all the time.
Stand there in front of a painting and somebody waffles on about it and you think,
Nope.
Yeah.
it's a nice way of looking at it.
I'll use that in my next next cell.
Yeah.
But it's up to the individual, yeah? So it's...
There's no right or wrong answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, if you just joined us, you're listening to Greg Dall and Nick Proud in the studios over here. The Four Sad Architects is the group that they're a part of. And there's an exhibition happening at the Umru Toffee, isn't that right?
The Toffee Gallery, yeah.
Yeah, the gallery, the project room at level 4 Kuala Lumpur, happening from the 6th of September to the 29th, yeah?
Yeah.
And you're all welcome to go and enjoy this exhibition over there and join the guys there, yeah? And Greg, okay, as part of four Sad Architects, how does working with the group shape or challenge your creativity?
Well, look, it's essential. I suppose it's one of the joys that I have when we all get together, and we regularly meet up, sometimes at Hijas's property down at Rimbudahan, and sometimes in Pendigo House, sometimes at my house, and sometimes at your place. And
Right.
we put the music on, get on our painting smocks, have a laugh, challenge each other, collaborate. And that's what the spirit of the studio is all about. It's the studio work where in our ateliers, we work together, we criticise each other, and we grow. And I think all four of us have grown and improved over the last 6 years, haven't we?
Yeah.
Being good friends is very important.
Very important.
We can take criticism and a punch on the nose and come back laughing.
Correct. And that helps you grow a lot, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and what kind of music are you listening to when you're doing that? Just have to.
Okay, I'm stuck in the past. I'm stuck in the 70s and 80s.
Well, good.
Right up TRAXXfm Street, I think. So
Right?
it's,
Yeah.
no, it's anything with rhythm.
Were we playing some of the material you listen to?
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we...
Good music. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Foot
Okay,
tapping music.
yeah?
But you kind of get lost in the process, so that becomes a sort of peripheral.
Hours, yeah.
Hours, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Music helps you along the way when you're doing your work.
definitely.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, definitely helps. So whether you can put on the classical music, put on the TRAXXfm, and then no, it's essential, right, to have this. But sometimes you can get so lost you don't hear anything. So which is great.
Right.
So, yeah.
Keep us in the background.
Well, look, what Nick's saying is so true. All four of us, once we start, you can be 5 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, and you've been at it. You don't realise the time's gone.
Right.
You don't realise you haven't been to the toilet, and you're thirsty as all heck. And you've just been dancing around your drawing board.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you,
Time
yeah,
just
yeah. After
disappears.
all that time, what did you produce?
Sometimes not much.
Okay. That little dot.
That little dot.
Yeah.
You're thinking about it a lot. It's a thought process,
It's
right?
a thought. A lot
Right.
of thinking. A lot of thinking.
Yeah.
No, it's quite productive, especially when the four of us are together.
Okay. What do you hope people take away when they look at your paintings, the paintings?
Well, me personally, after they view my work, I'd like them to, as I said, leave feeling good,
Right.
happy. They've had an experience, maybe learned a little bit, but mainly they are uplifted. That's what it's all about. I don't want them going out, trying to cut their wrists and feeling negative and dark.
Right. What about you, Nick?
I am being drawn into political comment, especially with what's happening in the world over the last few years, especially
Right.
around our area of Southeast Asia. And my message is one of that there is always hope in terms of the I always try to express an element of hope in the painting in some form or shape. So positivity is important, which is very similar to what Greg's message is as well.
Right. So how do you show that hope on canvas?
Through marks and through colors, through forms, and just through the content of a painting. I'm also quite focused on the urban landscape or desert scenes, which showcase sort of how negative we can be, but maybe in a small corner there's a tiny little mark which signifies a small element of growth, which could be a little seed just coming out. Or I've painted large canvases about the 9/11 dash line, which was the issue that surrounds us in the Southeast Asian seas with China and trying to take over or use that space. So with the Philippines and Malaysia against them. So how does a small community or country like ours and the Philippines stand up against a big country? So just abstracting that into a certain state, but then again showing little blobs of hope, right?
Right.
Little. Which could be could be a fisherman coming out to try and push away the big Chinese
Vessels.
and stuff like that. But and we are fighting back or Malaysia is fighting back in that a very small way. So I try and show that in the artwork. Whether people understand that is up to them. But if I sit and explain it, it becomes clearer.
And how does that come to you? I mean, how do you get that in your mind?
I feel I always. I did a series called The Red Line, and the Red Line is basically about how we as individuals in whatever form or shape are, sometimes stopped by authorities, stopped by bigger powers than us, by the government status or or the police force or whatever, where we don't feel comfortable, right? So, we all aspire to be good citizens, but we often are told not to cross the red line. So. I think it goes back to my university days as well, where I was always on the campaign marches against everything I could do on a Saturday or Sundays.
Right.
Yeah, you can see that Nick's the intellectual one amongst our group.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we all crossed the red line.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about you, Greg? I mean, where are you getting your ideas from?
Well, I've been
Besides Bondi?
I think I've been over that red line from day one.
All the time.
Yes. Inspiration. One of my favourite cartoonists who I worked with, Lut.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Now, we Malaysians all know Lut. We worked together on a project many years ago and became good mates. And I learnt from him. He sees the world in a different way. His eye, how he looks at people, and he sees the humorous, positive side mostly of Malaysians and what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. And he was a real inspiration, and I think I see the world slightly like Lut. That's why I love street art. You can express yourself and you can put form in there which entertains, amuses, and tells a little bit of a story.
Right. Right. I remember those little paintings in the books from Lut. Yeah, the ones about the Guess Who. Where he would go. Guess who? Guess who?
Look, he's a real gentleman and a character, and I learned a lot from him.
That's nice. Good to know. Right. Okay. Nick, your work explores fractured landscapes. What are fractured landscapes?
It's really breaking down. The series Lose the Horizon is really trying to take something which we see in everyday life, which was could be an urban landscape, could be a jungle landscape. It's really trying to break that down into a series of movements or strokes or marks that suggest that the landscape under which within which we live, and expressing it in a form which could be understood.
Right. And shifting terrains.
The same thing.
Same thing.
How does landscape apply? I mean, we're lucky in Malaysia. We have such a diverse, beautiful landscape to go and look at if we get out of
Right.
the cities. And it does linger. Once you've seen it, it lingers in your thoughts, and then you think, I must capture that at some stage.
Right. So that comes from painting rather more than
Yeah,
architecture.
more painting. Yeah.
Right. So you balance built space logic. Wow, Zam.
Yeah, this
Heavy Zam. You balance.
Is that where these questions came from? Hey, Zam.
He's keeping quiet there.
He's
Yeah.
gone quiet.
Yeah. You balance built space logic with painterly instinct. Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that
so
conflict?
when you look at the work that I have done, it is very urban. It does signify buildings, but sometimes buildings in distress or landscape under distress, which we all hear about and read about, especially with the global warming. So there's a lot of dialogue that goes into my work, on those topics.
Right. Okay. Now let's talk about the Spirit of the Studio exhibition. Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah.
And why did the group choose the studio as this exhibition's theme?
Yeah, well, Toffee is a lovely space. There's a roof garden at the top which we'll occupy for several events. It's larger, and we need space for the ateliers, for our studios. So we're actually setting up 4 of our design studios, and we will work from there at the same time for that 1 month off and on. So we needed a lot more space. And the owner of the gallery is Doc Tun, who's an architect. And he was kind enough to let us use the space. So we will be building our studios in that space with the art.
Right.
So it'll be active work and active painting and architecture going on in the art gallery.
Nice.
So 4 of us will be there arguing, throwing paint at each other, enjoying each other's company. And we're having several talks, very important talks during that 1 month period. One of them we're very excited about, this Ning Chong. She comes from Singapore. She's coming up specially. And her family are the largest collectors and entrepreneurs when it comes to art collection and, I can never get that word, philanthropist in Singapore. So she's come to talk about the future when someone has a large art collection. What do you do it when you inherit it? Where does that art go? How you value it? What you do with it? Which is a really interesting aspect when it comes to art and collecting.
Right.
So that's it.
Back in the time gone by, we didn't have architects as such. We had artists, we had master painters, and then we had master builders. And the studio then was really, in the Leonardo's time, was really driven by
Collective.
painting, and then architecture developed from there. And I believe what we're trying to do is, because we have been in the business a long time, is give the younger generation the opportunity to come in and see how we work on a day-to-day basis. I don't work on a computer. I work on a drawing board, and I sketch, and I notate, and the same as Greg. So somebody coming in there, like a young architectural student or a young artist, can then see how we approach our problem solving, how we start our artwork, how we work on a day-to-day basis in the studio. And it's messy, and it's not clinical, and we solve problems with our pens and pencils, not with our computers. And it's good for people to see that. Drawing boards, they don't exist anymore, but we still have them. So
Right.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's funny, when we're employing young architects, the first thing we do in an interview is we hand them a pencil,
And that's
7B pencil, and say, "Have you seen this?" And they go, "Well, what's that?" It's like, the old telephone. I say, "Can you draw?"
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, when you ask these, it's a great talent, but you have to ask them, how do you learn to express yourself with your chosen medium? And they're probably 3 times, they're probably so able to do this, just as we learned to, draftsmanship and sketching and, that analysis, because computers were not available when we went to college. So
Right.
that's an interesting transition. And to have that, because some of these young ladies and gentlemen, they come in and they're really good. But they express themselves through their computers, right? So, they can't.
Well, quite often with a computer program, the designer will only design to their ability to be able to use the program.
Right.
Whereas when you have your brain and your hand and a pencil, there are no boundaries. There is no command on the computer that you can't do, brain to hand.
Right. So it's
So-
like they're being aided too much with their computers
That's
and all
right.
that, right?
They'll instead of drawing a morphed surface, they'll draw a straight line because they know how to do it on a computer.
Right.
So it limits the abilities.
I think our skill also in terms of our age is more the analytical skill, the thinking
Right.
before you start designing, or before you start painting. I mean, going on back onto the art, my most favorite moment is just seeing a blank piece of paper and a blank canvas, because I think, right, where are we going this time, right? So, whereas, people can be a bit afraid of that, a bit afraid because they need direction, they need a scope. But I really enjoy that sort of early process, that analytical thinking.
It's like Adrian Newey working on a Formula One car. Adrian Newey,
Yes,
right? Where
yes,
he
yes.
works from
Yeah,
sketch,
from sketch,
with
that's
pen
right.
and everything,
That's right. Yeah.
as opposed to using everything.
But then you use the machine, use the computer to refine it, to
Right.
polish it.
Yeah.
So it's a collaboration between brain, hand, computer.
Right.
The other thing is AI is changing our profession dramatically, and getting back to the arts and the expression of is very important for the future of our profession. So instead of having I'm an architect and I deal with this, you can say I'm a designer and I can deal with colours, sculpture, interior design, painting, music. So it's a much broader thing. And we will all have to morph into a large, broader aspect of design if we're going to survive the next 25 years. Simple.
Right. So if you're going to be using one of those things, you might not be the painters you are, like the way.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I think
I
it's
just
like.
want to impress on people that that they don't have to rely upon technology. That everybody has the ability to do everything by hand and just be creative. Yeah.
Right. What a wonderful thing that would be able, to be able to do that. Okay. What do you hope visitors feel when they step into your recreated studio?
You go.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
What's that?
Hey,
What's the
Zam,
studio
where'd
gonna be?
you get that one from, Zam?
I feel that it's kind of like we want to create a sense of intimacy.
Okay.
So it's like the public being invited into behind the curtain, into a space which they've never seen before. Because most of our visitors, hopefully, will be, people who want to appreciate art and young students. So they've probably never seen the interior workings of an architectural studio, which is messy and noisy and. But now, so lift the curtain a little bit, show how we really work on a day-to-day basis, and make everybody aware that there is a rawness and a vulnerability to the way that we process our work. And we're never right all the time. It is a process. We go down sort of dead-end trails sometimes and come back and start again. And so, to be aware that it is that, it is a process.
The debate, too.
It's a debate,
Yeah.
It's not polished, but it's where mistakes and breakthroughs exist, right? So,
Yeah, we will
Correct.
have some models there, and we will have examples of well-known buildings around town that we've all worked on. Mm-hmm. And the visitors can actually see the design process as it happened, 20 years ago. For example, the Maybank building, that was designed and built by Hegis, which is just opposite the Toffee Gallery. So the original models and sketches will be there for people to see. So that's a very important, I think, aspect of architecture. And as Nick was saying, the visitor can actually see the process and how it actually happened, messy as it is.
Right. And does that also answer this question over here? Why is it important to show the process, not just the final product?
The story.
Right.
Yeah, once again, it's like art. If you just see a dot on the wall, you don't know the reasons behind it, the story behind it. You can appreciate it, but you'll appreciate it a lot more when you understand the pain, the process, and the argument and the debate to achieve the final
This
product.
is what it was right at the start,
That's
right?
what it
Just
was.
this little tree trunk.
That's right, a little scribble on the page.
one of my tutors once said to me, design and architecture is 5% inspiration, 95% perspiration. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's hard work, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's, but the process, it makes art and architecture, what we're trying to show makes it more accessible to people, more understanding. How do we arrive at this painting? How did he just design, the Maybank building? What is the process behind it? How do we arrive at that final decision? Yeah, and there's many processes.
We haven't mentioned much about Chong, but he's using derelict parts of old buildings.
There's a lot of recycling.
Recycling.
Yeah.
So he actually uses the old recycling shutters and doors and so on and creates brilliant art pieces out of those. So, it's about showing people that you can use parts of old buildings in a very clever way. So that process, and that's been painful for him.
And that's going to be there as well.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic. Okay. And what can architects learn from artists and vice versa?
Well, I think everyone in their hearts, I always look at it this way, I think everyone has a God-given talent, whether it's with figures and numbers, whether it's with singing, and I think architecture is meant to be the mother of all arts. And I suppose in some ways it is, because we are dealing with everything from creating music in the lobby of a hotel to doing place settings on tables in a dining space. So it is the mother of all arts. So what we can take or give back is, look, architecture is about design. It's not about the physical building a box in the sky. And it's very important that people understand that.
I think architects can learn freedom from looking at different artists, the ability to be free. And I think vice versa, artists can learn discipline from architecture.
Right. Okay. Now, how have the curators Ong Kar-jin and Wong Jian-lin shaped this exhibition?
They together with our art director Wendy, who deserves a really big mention. She's helped us over the many years. She's the driving force. But Kar-jin and Wong Jian-lin, they're experienced curators, and they basically try and create a red line for us to follow in terms of a theme that runs through the show. And they came up with this idea for the spirit of the studio, which wraps around our architectural needs and allows us to at least have a theme, and that theme, spirit of the studio, I think is particularly apt.
Yeah, it's they're driving it very well. I mean, look, I've got to admire Kar-jin in particular, because we're all four very strong-headed individual architects. It's like herding cats to get us into a space together.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
And I don't have any ego at all, but the other three have massive egos.
There it is.
Yeah, have massive egos. Yeah. So he's got to tame that. So it's a challenge, but
Yeah,
and also how do you put a show together which putting the individual artist to one side? How do you create something which the viewer will really appreciate? How do you put all of our different work together such that it's interesting and it flows nicely and it feels like it represents the spirit of the studio?
Right.
So,
well, I think
not an easy job.
Not an easy job, and I think a lot of it is left to actually having to experience it, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just have to go there and experience the whole spirit of the studio. From the four sad architects at the Umru.
No, top.
UMRU.
No, that's one of his other galleries. It's actually he's got 3 galleries.
All right.
This is Toffee.
Toffee.
Yeah.
So Toffee, the project room at level 4, Kuala Lumpur, on the 6th of September to the 29th. Nick Proud and Greg Dall will be there. And who else is going to be there? Hijaz is going to be there.
Hijaz and Chong.
Chong.
And the big boss, Wendy. The driving force, and of course the curators.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Okay.
lots of other people. Everybody who's listening, please come along.
Would you like to come?
Right.
It's informative, and I think everybody will take something special away from it.
Nice. So what else do you have to tell the people?
Art is the essence of life. It makes
Design is the essence of life.
Design. Sorry, Nick. Yeah. Design. I mean, it really. It's a driving force. So embrace it. Come along and enjoy it with us.
Yeah, and I think we're also part of the rising sort of development of art museums, art studios. There's a lot of small galleries which are now opening up, and there's a lot of expressive people in Malaysia, a lot of talented artists and designers. So it's really for them just to keep the flow going. Ours is just one show, but there's many others throughout the year, and
Support it.
Yeah, everybody needs to support the artists and the curators and the individual studios, so that Malaysia can be a much richer place. It has a great history of art, but it fell off in the sort of last 1.5 decades. But we really believe that it's coming back now.
Right.
So come and visit us. Yeah.
Come take advantage of it and go see the four sad architects. Yeah, the spirit of the studio. Absolute pleasure having the both of you in the studios over here. Thank you.
Thanks for your
Thank you
time.
very
Thanks for your
much.
questions
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
hospitality.
Thank you for coming here. Yeah.
Okay.